One stump in your yard. One quote from the tree service. $400. And then there's a second number. Almost nobody knows anymore. $4. No machine, no rental, no appointment, no one standing in your driveway on a Tuesday. 11 methods. All of them work. 2 of them are regulated today, and the last one requires no tool at all. Number 11. Digging it out with a mattock. The baseline method this country was cleared with. You cut a trench about 18 inches out from the trunk all the way around. You expose the lateral roots and sever them one at a time as you find them. Then you rock the stump, and only once it moves do you go after the taproot. The trick is in the rocking, not the swinging. Swing at it, and you break the handle. Lever it, and the stump lifts. On a stump under 8 inches across, roughly 90 minutes of work. Tool cost, about $35 once, and that mattock will outlast you. Nobody banned this method. It just stopped being taught. Number 10. Cut low, then split. The height of the stump is half the problem. Leave 16 inches standing, and you've made the work for yourself. Cut as low as you can, ground level, not knee level. Then drive splitting wedges into the root crown along the grain and work outward toward the flare roots. The remaining wood breaks into segments. You can lever out one at a time. This next part matters, and it isn't boilerplate. Chainsaws and dirt do not mix. Kickback from the bar, tip catching soil, a rock, or an old fence nail is the leading injury cause with this tool. If there was ever a fence line here, sweep it with a magnet first. Chaps, ear protection, eye protection, every single time. Number 9. Pulling with a cable winch. Between 1868 and 1890, the U.S. Patent Office issued hundreds of patents for stump pulling machines, cast iron tripods, screw jacks, chain and lever rigs. The principle was never strength. It was mechanical advantage. The modern equivalent costs about $70. A hand crank cable winch anchored to a standing tree or a truck frame. For stumps under 12 inches, this is still recommended by agricultural extension sources, usually paired with number 11. Sever the roots first, then pull. One warning meant seriously. A steel cable failing under load is dangerous. Never stand in the pull corridor. Lay a blanket over the cable. Respect the rated capacity on the winch, not the one in your head. Number 8. Smoldering it out. Here's where the regulation starts. You bore 2 angled holes that meet near the base of the root crown. One takes embers, the other draws air. The stump consumes itself from the inside over 2 to 4 days without ever throwing an open flame. And this is where I give you the category and not the instructions. Open burning is governed by state and county rules. It's permit only across much of this country, and it's flatly prohibited during burn bans and fire season. Call your county before anything smolders on your property. If there's a neighbor's roof downwind, don't. Number 7. Potassium nitrate and ignition. The second regulated method, and historically the fastest chemical option there was. Potassium nitrate goes into a drilled hole grid. The wood breaks down over months and becomes combustible enough that the root crown burns through from the inside out. Again, category, not a how-to. No quantities, no ignition method, not on a channel a 14-year-old might be watching. But here's the thing. The fire isn't the interesting part. The setup is. Because that same potassium nitrate does its work with no ignition at all, which brings us to the methods anyone can use. Number 6. Rock salt. Here's the base pattern for the next 3 methods, so listen once and you've got all of them. Cut the stump flush. Drill 1-inch holes, 6 to 8 inches deep, about 3 inches apart, across the whole cut face. Fill them, cap them. Wait. With rock salt, the ice melt kind, not table salt, the salt pulls moisture out of the wood and wrecks the water balance in the remaining roots. 6 to 12 months later, the wood is punky enough to break apart with a mattock. Cost, about $8 for a 40-pound bag. One drawback, stated honestly, that salt stays in your soil. If you want to plant on that spot later, skip to number 5. Number 5. Epsom salt. Same drill pattern, different salt. Magnesium sulfate from the garden center or the drugstore, $6 to $8 a carton. It dries the wood the same way, but it doesn't sterilize the ground long-term because magnesium is a plant nutrient. This is the default choice if a bed, a shrub, or a new tree is going where that stump is. Timeline, 3 to 9 months. And here's the part worth sitting with. The bottle on the shelf labeled Stump Remover, the one that costs $14. As a rule, that's one of these salts. Read the back. It quotes you the same timeline. The difference is the packaging. Number 4. Boiling water. No chemistry, no product, no permit, no purchase at all. Expose the cut face and the shallow lateral roots. Chisel a few deep pockets into the root crown. Then every 3 or 4 days, pour a full kettle of boiling water straight into those pockets. Water at 212 degrees ruptures cell walls and kills the living tissue in the root crown. On a 6-inch stump, 5 or 6 rounds over about 5 weeks will finish it. Cost: the gas or the wood it takes to boil water. That's the entire bill. Number 3. Cover and starve. Light gone. Gas exchange gone. Lay a heavy black tarp over the stump. Weight the edges down with stones or soil. Then walk away for 6 to 12 months. The residual living tissue in the root crown stops photosynthesizing, and the decay organisms already sitting in your soil do the entire job for you. The stump goes soft, then it goes crumbly. Cost: about $20 for a tarp that will outlast a dozen stumps. Labor: laying it down once. Number 2. Mushroom spawn. The only method on this list that pays you back. Drill a grid into the cut face. Insert oyster mushroom plug spawn. Seal each hole with wax. The fungus breaks the wood down from the inside over 12 to 18 months, and along the way you harvest several pounds of edible mushrooms per flush off the stump you were trying to get rid of. Cost: about $1 a plug. Use certified spawn from a real supplier and only eat what you can positively identify. Number 1. Girdling. And the cheapest method on this entire list needs no product, no tool, but a knife, and not 1 minute of work on the stump, because at that point there isn't a stump yet. On the standing tree you remove a ring of bark about 4 inches wide, all the way around, cutting through the cambium, the living layer just under the bark. The tree keeps standing, but it stops sending sugars down to its roots. 12 to 24 months later, the root system is dead in the ground. Then you fell it, and what's left has no fight in it at all. This practice is documented back to the 1700s. It disappeared from the guides for exactly one reason: there's nothing to sell alongside it. A legal note that belongs here: girdling kills the tree. Local tree ordinances still apply. A dying tree is a liability if it can fall on anything. Your own trees, unprotected species, clear drop zone only. Count how many times on this list an invoice was actually required. Twice. The grinder and the tree service. The grinder isn't the enemy. The belief that it's your only option, that's the part that costs you $400 a stump. So here's what I want you to do this week, not next spring. Pick one stump, the smallest one, the one you've been walking past for 2 years, and pick one method off this list. Drill it and pack it with Epsom salt on Saturday morning, or throw a tarp and a rock on it. And don't look at it again until spring, or take a mattock to it on Sunday afternoon with a friend and a jug of water. One stump, one method, that's all. And tell me down below which method is missing from this list. The one your family used that I didn't cover? I'll build the next video off whichever comment comes up most.